We've got today on Space News, Jovian moon enumerations, deep space solar sonifications, European spacesuit fabrications, and multiple UFO obliterations. Coming to you now, right now.
I'm Braden.
I'm Dan.
Some people are thinking it's they question us. Only half the theorists are here because we're obviously competing with the Super Bowl and
no, the Super Bowl is competing with us.
Yeah, we're not going to capture the same amount of audience because because of the Super Bowl, but we decided to push on anyways. They're going to take, a couple million viewers from us tonight, but that's all right. It's fine. It is what it is. You know what? I've got good news and bad news to open the show. I forgot to mention this to you. This is normally Cosmic Channel's time slot. Got some bad news, good news, and bad news. When we kind of moved Cosmic Channels to its own, we kind of said the show is a lot of work to keep going. It's almost triple the cost. It's a hard show to run. With that being said, Cosmic Channels in the format that it was is dead. Cue sad song. Did you have the violin, Dan?
No. I didn't get tuned. I didn't have time to tune it. Yeah.
So with that, Cosmic Channels is no more. We're going to fill that time slot with doing space news and some fan interaction. We've been kind of testing these out the last couple of weeks, and we're hoping to do the first dedicated one on the 26th, the next Cosmic Channels time. Now, just because Cosmic Channels is done doesn't mean that the Randomatron couldn't spit open some sort of cosmic line at the end of a space news segment or not. We're not sure. The Randomatron has a mind of its own. So there's that. But, I mean, space news, everyone loves space news. I love space news. Dan loves space news. I'm sure everyone listening loves space news. There's been so much going on this week. And what are we starting with, Dan?
Well, I think we're probably going to have to start talking about the European Space Agency wants to kind of open source its design or outsource its design to regular people for their new spacesuits that are going to be for using for Mars and the moon and anywhere else. So the ESA, the European Space Agency, went ahead and asked for public help in the last month or so.
That has gone so well. That has gone so well with asking the public for names. A few boat names come to mind, right? Like
snowplows, yeah.
Oh God, yeah. You leave this. This gets in the hand of a couple Twitter trolls. These guys are going to be looking like they're Nazi space scientists from the Third Reich.
Well, I mean, there were a couple parameters that the ESA kind of put forth, and they said that they wanted to give designers a chance to help them create these new spacesuits, design them. It's not even like you had to be an engineer, because they said the engineers will take care of everything else. What they really want, what they're really interested in,
crayon them up.
You could, I mean, possibly yes. Like that's kind of the implication I got from the article that I read, was saying that you can go ahead and send in your designs. Depending on when you're listening to this, you might have about 2 more weeks that they're open for suggestions for designs, because they're gonna close it, I think, in February 28th.
Yeah,
of 2023.
You got time quickly. Bust out your crayon pack and dust out. And to be honest, you're gonna want to, because the prize is unreal. The prize, if your spacesuit gets chosen, is unreal. Is it a trip to space? No. Is it a spacesuit of your own? No.
Winners who get their design chosen will get you'll get a tour of the European Astronaut Center near Cologne, Germany. So I mean, they can't exactly shoot you out to space, but you'll get that's probably as close as most of us could probably get.
Well, the other thing is, I was like, just give the person a full-on suit. To me, that would be awesome. Like if I won the contest and they're like, all right, you got 2 options here. We will give you a full suit that you can just have. That's your design, a full suit, size to you that you can wear, and then And
It's like, what, what are you gonna
or
wear it
we'll
to?
fly you to Germany. I'll be like, I want the suit.
Like,
And tons of people are in the chat. When are we talking about the UFOs? UFOs are coming. That's the peak of the show. Let us get through some space news, and we'll be talking all about
yeah, that's
these
not the only.
UFOs.
That stuff didn't
So
happen in space. Okay.
yeah,
This is space news.
this is space news. We'll get to the Earth news in a second here. Don't worry, Kyle and Rusty and Corey and anyone else who's commented about the UFOs. It's coming.
No, one of the most interesting things that I found about this competition was that they want their designs to emphasize on representing European identity, which I'm not 100% sure what that means. I assume when I think of Europe, it's going to be some kind of like designed after some kind of like 14th century like knight wear.
Yes,
like medieval,
like some
medieval
Dead Space
knight,
medieval design.
Well, not like Dead Space, but I'd say like, yeah, like not a crusader, I suppose, but like, like a jousting tournament knight.
Yeah.
like ornate, kind of like that. Would be pretty sick. I think those would be pretty fun. That's what I thought. So,
you got till February 28th.
February 28th, get in your designs.
Yeah, get them in, send it in. If you win and you get a suit, you got to send us a piece of the suit.
Why send us a piece of the suit?
Well, I'm not going to ask for the whole suit. That's
why would you even ask for it? It won't work if you send us a piece.
Well, they're obviously not going to space. Send me the glove. Because they wouldn't even have known about it if it wasn't for us. Now, this next one. I mean, the pettiness of this story has been going on for decades now. Just this never-ending one-upmanship. It's getting sickening. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the long, storied jealousy battle of who has the most moons. No one cares.
The giant solar system dick measuring contest of who has the most moons.
Yeah, between Jupiter and Saturn. Like, get over it. You got a lot of moons. All right?
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. What is it now? 82 or some shit?
Well, in 2019, Jupiter had lost the lead, apparently, to Saturn. But now Jupiter has regained its lead now that they have counted 12 previously unknown moons that orbit around our Jovian neighbor. So that brings the total to 92. And Saturn comes in second with only 83.
I love how the ad for this says a measly count of 80. Like just a really dagger in the backs of that one. The funny thing of this is, to me, is I'm like, it's just people counting. People have been fucking up the count of this fucking thing, or not been patient enough while counting these things for so long, right? Like you think this day and age, you'd be like, we know for certainty the exact number of orbital bodies around Jupiter and Saturn. Not the case.
Well, no. Yeah, that's the interesting thing, is that these observations, which were led by an astronomer by the name of Scott Shepard of the Carnegie Institution for Science, actually used. It's essentially like it's difficult to find all the moons that orbit around Jupiter. Number one is because Jupiter is so bright. Like it is in terms of like when you look at it with a telescope or something like that, it reflects so much light that it's very difficult to kind of pinpoint out orbiting bodies that would count as moons. So what they actually did was, I believe they used a different type of telescope to go ahead and look at Jupiter, and they kind of found it by accident. I think it's like they kind of found it by accident, and they picturing out all these tiny little rocks and stuff that are floating around. They're not. Some of them are a little bit. They're different. Which I didn't know this, was that a lot of Jupiter's moons actually orbit in a retrograde direction, like opposite the way that Jupiter spins. And so what scientists are saying, that's how you can kind of tell the difference about which moons may have been naturally formed and which moons are actually just passing bodies that had gotten caught in Jupiter's orbit. In its orbit.
Yeah, 'cause it's so fat. It's got so much mass.
Fucking Jupiter's our solar system bodyguard, man. Like,
yeah.
If it weren't for Jupiter, we get smacked with meteors like all the fucking time. It's the big boy. He's the bouncer. He's our solar system's bouncer.
it's to be honest, when I read the number of moons, I was surprised. I was like, 92. I was like, in my head, no word of a lie. In my head, 17. That's what I thought in my head.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was absolutely blown away by the true number of these things.
Yeah, and another little fact about the search of the for the moons is that originally, apparently, when they were like they weren't even looking for these moons. The scientists were actually looking for our hypothetical planet nine, like the ninth planet in the solar system.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Nibiru.
looking out Nibiru, planet X. They were looking, that's what they were actually looking for, but they just happened to focus in on Jupiter and say, whoa, there's some more moons that we can go ahead and count and give Jupiter its title back, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean,
We find it's just one of those things that you're like, even though we're looking for something that seems kind of weird, whether you're searching for Bigfoot or aliens or any of that stuff, it's like you always find something along the way, which is always, pretty interesting discoveries, even when you're trying to, do things like this.
mm-hmm. Oh, what else we got?
So another interesting little thing is that I had seen this before. I had kind of seen this stuff done before, and I wasn't sure exactly what I was expecting because, you see in the news, they have the thing, oh, the first sounds of a black hole. And
Yeah,
if you
it's
ever
like,
listen to one, and then I have read other posts about talking about like if you could hear the sun, like the sun actually makes a sound. They're like, if you could hear the sun, it would sound like 800 chainsaws blasting full volume all day, every day, and drive us all insane. But this one, the headline goes, "We can now hear the sound of one of the most beautiful stars." So I was kind of thinking maybe that's hyperbole or something. It's like, oh no, maybe it is like just a bunch of static coming up, radiation sound set to pitch or whatever. But no, what it is that they took the observation data from a star called RS Puppis. Puppis? I think it's Pupus. And which is about 6,500 light years away. And they set it, they gave it what they call the data sonification treatment. So they took a Hubble image of the star and they kind of transcribed the light that is emitted by the star into sound. So they assigning like pitch and direction that like radiating from the center of that image, and then turned, and then the volume was affected by the light, the brightness of the light from the star. So they turned it into this thing, and it's actually pretty pleasant sounding. I don't know.
We got 42 seconds of it right here. The sonification of the RS Pupus. Let's. I think you can hear this. Dan, you may not be able to hear this.
Sure.
But I think the stream can hear this. If you could just bob your head like you hear this to give the illusion.
Got it.
And chat, let me know if you can hear this or not.
So yeah, it's a solar jam, a solar EP.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool technique that they use to go ahead and do this. And so
Duchess of Doobies in the chat says, it sounds like aggressive wind chimes. You're not storms are coming. That's what it sounds like. Storms are coming.
So while looking this up, I found out I came across some pretty interesting facts about the type of star that RS Pupus is. That apparently it is a type of star known as a Cepheid variable star, which are actually pretty fucking interesting, which I found out. These types of stars actually allow scientists and astronomers to calculate the vast distances in the universe. Like apparently, like before 1912, we scientists were unable to kind of calculate how far things away were when we observed them in space beyond a couple hundred light years until a researcher named Henrietta Leavitt discovered that there is a certain group of stars that seem to display a distinct relationship between the star's brightness and its periodicity. So it's dimming. Like it would, she could kind of calculate it out, like how these stars had a very distinct periodicity where they would dim and then they would brighten and they would dim and then they would brighten. And then she used, calculated all this out. And then you could work out how intrinsically bright these stars were, not how they were observed from Earth, but actually where they were in their, in their region of space. So taking all that data and all that thing. And this was one of the people, I've said this is one of the most important discoveries in astronomy, in history of astronomy, is that she put this all together and allowed us.
It's
doing it by hand.
She's got a pencil.
Yeah. It's insane. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Not only the sonification thing is neat, but I was like, holy smokes, like this lady put this all down, did it all by hand in a notebook somewhere, calculated it all out, and it's just like,
I can tell you right now, that's the crazy, one of the craziest things to me is that there's people out there that smart, because you could give me immortality, Dan,
yeah,
leave me here on Earth, and I would never figure this out. Never. Not once. You just leave me with all the tools we have today, right? And in a million years, I wouldn't figure out I wouldn't figure out this problem at all.
I mean, yeah. You probably have to. I mean, you could. You just have to start in the foundation of astronomy, I suppose. No.
I'm telling you right now, there's not a chance. I don't have the reading comprehension. I can't read books that.
Well, you could learn.
Are technical. I get instant. I'm like, this is boring. I can't read this anymore.
Yeah, it is it was seriously humbling to see that, to find out this, and actually it was exciting to learn something like this, that people, that this star, which is also distinguished as being the brightest Cepheid variable, the RS Puppis, with an average brightness of 15,000 times our sun. And then just I guess it also holds the title of kind of like, I guess in the astronomy circles, is one of the most beautiful stars, since it's surrounded by clouds of debris and glass that kind in
out. So beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So
yeah, this is true. This is true. So it's very subjective.
Yeah, it's very subjective. I'm not a big fan of the star beauty contest.
All stars are beautiful.
Yeah, all stars, all shapes, all sizes, beautiful.
Whether you're a red dwarf or a yellow dwarf or a white dwarf or a brown dwarf star.
I think it's
quasar or whatever. Pulsar, quasar, pulsar.
Dan,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
little stars.
Not politically correct.
Red little stars.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, let's bring it back down to Earth, because we're recording this Sunday, February 12th, and this last 4 or 5 days has been a whirlwind. I mean, it started off with the balloons. We called it the China lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it last week on Space News. And then what was the first one? There's just been a slew of just UFO videos. Like, obviously now UFO and aliens are a hot topic. And I'll say this for people listening. I bet I've combed through more UFO and alien videos in the last 2 years than probably most people on Earth. That's not a lie. It's not. Every single, basically, MUFON database that has been submitted in the last 2 years, I've seen the day they've been posted. I watch them. I look at them. I've scoured the database. I don't know if there's too many more people on Earth that have seen more UFO videos in the last 2 years than me. And I'll tell you this, right now, this last 3 days has been very difficult because people are like, holy shit, there's now a UFO flying above my house. Here's the video. And I'm like, I've seen that video before. That video is old. This video is old. So it's just, you're getting a slew. But one of the things that came out was we shot down a craft, a high altitude craft on what when was that, Dan?
There's one on Friday. I think the one this is post Chinese surveillance balloon, what is believed to be. The I think Friday was when they shot down one over waters, like U.S. waters on the off the shores of Alaska.
Yeah, I think I have. A little map here. Oh, maybe not. I don't. I think that's just where they restricted. Never mind. That's not. Let's see if they have a map here. I got to go fast because I don't want anyone seeing my targeted ads again. I'll never live that down.
Nope.
But anyways, yeah, somewhere off the, high altitude in Alaska, they scrambled jets, and they shot something down. And one of the reports coming out, is that this object was as big as a car, had no discernible means of propulsion, and then you start to get stuff that's not in the news that pops up on Twitter about reports about like jet fighters saying that perhaps they were, whatever this thing was messing with their equipment. It was evading radar, a whole bunch of other things. But what we do know so far is that, woo, America baby, we took it out.
We did. That would be kill number 2 for the F-22 Raptor. This one was also shot down by, I believe that it's the same type of missile that they used on the Chinese balloon. So AIM 9X Sidewinder missile fired on that one. And so yeah, the official channels, the stuff that's gotten out into the into the main media outlets, is that this what they shot down. Some people, most of it is like they're not 100% sure what it is. That they shot it over frozen water, so they believe that it will be once they get a recovery team out there, it shouldn't be too difficult to find.
And they've been hampered by
pieces of it,
poor weather conditions.
Right, which is like Alaska, which is like, when isn't there poor weather? I feel like I've watched Deadliest Catch. I know what goes on.
Yeah, especially this time of year.
Yeah, and it's who is it that was doing the guy, the Defense Department kind of came out and talked about it. They had like an official press conference about it, talking about what it is, and they said that this one was, even though, like Brayden said, it was the size of a car or like a small car, they said it's much, much smaller than the balloon that they shot down last Saturday. And that it was described to be kind of, it didn't seem to be carrying a payload like the other balloon. It just seemed to be kind of, from what the description is, what they're saying, it's just this kind of object. I'm not sure. This one was, I've seen descriptions, or I've heard descriptions of people saying that it was cylindrical in its shape. But as far as we know, is that, pretty much officials like American radar picked it up around 9 p.m. on Thursday, Alaska time. And then the U.S. Northern Command sent an AWACS surveillance aircraft, which is like those big, people like describe them. They're like the big planes with like the dinner plates on top. Yeah. So they sent one of those, and then they sent a refueling plane to kind of track it. They determined that it didn't seem to have any type of propulsion, didn't seem to be any direction that it seemed to be kind of headed in, I suppose. I've heard things that they're saying it was just floating there, seemed to follow with the winds. Determined. Yeah,
the speed of it. I mean, the speed of it was pretty slow. They were estimating it at 20 to 40 miles per hour. So to say this thing is like, again, they're not saying it's a balloon. So they're saying they're like, right now we don't know how it was staying afloat. We didn't see means of propulsion, but by no means was it moving at a high rate of speed at all.
Yeah,
like it
wasn't.
Right?
Wasn't fast.
Right? So obviously this thing, everything goes wild, right? Twitter, online, everything, our downloads, everything alien and UFO was trending in the up for sure. And then briefly after that, we get word, and to be honest, I thought this was fake news 100% until I saw the press conference with Justin Trudeau, because a second object was then shot down Um, by order of the Prime Minister, it was detected by NORAD, shot down over the skies of the Yukon in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was another F-22 that they sent that after that one too. So
Yeah.
the F-22 pilots are having a great time, I'm sure. This one they definitely described as an unidentified cylindrical object. This is the one, and they saw it on Saturday. And that the what is it? Canadian Defense Minister Anita Anand. I guess she declined to speculate about what the origin of the object. Just the only thing that they can confirm is that it was cylindrical in shape, which is interesting in itself. Like even that statement by itself is interesting because all of these so far have had very very different structures to all these. You can call them UFOs. I guess UFOs, they are an object. So
Yeah.
UFO. They've all had, you had the balloon, which is definitely round one. The other one, it's whether they said it's cylindrical or one of the other ones was octagonal. Like there's all of these different, like some kind of weird, like
anthropoid in the chat says, sure sounds like a sandhill crane to me. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it could have been a Mothman.
Yeah.
This is a possibility.
But so now we have these two objects that have been shot down. Which in my lifetime I don't think has ever happened. And now you have, press conferences and stuff with, and I get it. Like the governor of Alaska, she was in a press conference and they're asking her, and she's saying, I just got out of a classified meeting. I don't know too much about these things. We don't know whose they are, if they're state-owned or what, or if, and she kind of pauses and goes like, there's some entities. and obviously that just to use the word entities, people are like, oh, it's aliens. It's got to be 100% aliens. We're shooting aliens crap. But that, to be honest, to me that's the scariest thing, because I'm like, one, if there's just aliens coming into our airspace right now and we're just plunking these things out of the sky, I'm like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. That sounds like a little bit of a bad idea to me. Right? Like, I know it's one of those shoot first questions, like, are they good or are they bad? But I'm like, if they're traversing the stars and they're coming here and we're blowing them out of the skies, chances are they have technology to just, sorry, F-22 Raptors, but they're going to be, they might not like that if that's what indeed this is. But, and then you would think that, like, obviously having two objects blown down, third, so now we've had three within the span of a week, surely that's, going to be the last of it, or, like there couldn't be too much more of this stuff. Not 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago, Dan?
Yeah.
6 hours ago, yet another object was shot down over Lake Huron.
Yeah.
This one was described as like a hexagon shape. So far, again, this is early news, but all we know about this one is it was impeding. They were just worried about it being a danger to civilian craft.
Yeah, I think this one, this one they were at like 20,000 feet or something like that. They're saying that
it wasn't not as high, not flying around, but whatever it was, drifting. Again,
which
not
is
known.
this one. Apparently, this one was actually a continuation from an event that had occurred yesterday, I believe, because it was the, this would have been the. Like at the 11th or something like that, where a little blurb popped up about them shutting down airspace within Montana airspace.
Yeah,
and they had detected something on radar, and they sent up a couple jets to kind of go and look. And the jet said they didn't have any visual confirmation on what had tripped the radar about being with it. So they weren't sure whether there was something up there or this had been like a radar fluke. They weren't 100% sure. But then in the articles that I've read about the one that got downed over Lake Huron, they've been saying that object is the same object that they had picked up over Montana, and the one that was going over Lake Huron that they went ahead and downed. I could go ahead and chalk most of these up to being like, most of the radar detection agencies are kind of like upping the dials on their things to pick up like smaller objects, and so they're just shooting everything down. They changed their protocols, and they'd be like, you know what, let's just anything that's in the sky, bring it down. Like, it
Yeah.
just seems like we're just shooting down a whole bunch of stuff. Um, but yeah, they said that it should be pretty easy, or within the it should be pretty easy to recover it. All of this news is right now is all early days, and it's like I'm also kind of bummed that this happens on a weekend, because I guarantee like half of the shit that they do, that they down all the emergency procedures can happen very quick. So launching fighters and doing all that stuff, like that stuff all happens really fast. Recovery efforts and like anything that takes any kind of logistical like organization is going to take a few days, and especially on a weekend, there's nobody who's working on a weekend.
Yeah.
Because if it's the U.S. government, we had this chat in Discord, and I was saying it's the U.S. government, the people who certify that whether it's a balloon, balloon identification, don't come in until Monday.
Yeah,
It's like
you're not paying double time for them.
you're not. Yeah, their government's not paying overtime for this bullshit. They're gonna be like, yeah, no, we're not coming in until Monday. So we're probably not gonna get any hardcore stuff, or solid reports or anything until Monday. Maybe Monday evening, maybe Tuesday. I assume they're gonna have to, just off the top of my head, being like, okay, they got to recover it, so they're gonna recover it. Then they got to take the part, and they take apart the pieces, and then somebody's got to come in and like figure out what they are, what we can really, if these are radar, if these are balloons or some kind of objects sent into our airspace by other foreign actors of some type or whatever. Like, they're going to kind of pick them apart and see like what can we release about what, like so I figured it's going to be something like that. So I probably won't hear any really. I know, like, I read some things that the government, or at least the president, was kind of being like, they've like, this has become such a big thing about all of this stuff is out here in public, which they're fine with, but they're like, the speculation is just going nuts, and they have to make a couple of there's been some conversations where they've needed to give personal assurances
They're
that
like,
these
stop
aren't
saying
aliens.
entities.
Stop saying aliens.
Stop saying entities.
These aren't aliens. Like, they're not aliens.
Well, I don't know. The thing is this, it's like, for me, I'm like, listen, and nobody wants it to be aliens more than me. No one. But after the coming off the heels of, like, we have a Chinese surveillance balloon that gets shot out of the air. Now we have more, and China's like, that's an act of aggression, like an act of escalation. You're breaking whatever, right? It was an accident. You shouldn't have shot it down. Bullshit. And then all of a sudden we have all these other objects in my sky. To me, I'm like, well, if I was a betting man, right? And if I was a betting man, you're like, you're looking at the roulette table. Aliens is green. I'm definitely putting a couple chips there just in case. Definitely. You never know, right? You never know if it's gonna hit green. You're gonna hit big. But right now, I'd put all my chips on that. These are most likely Chinese state-owned craft that are drifting, much like the balloon. And we'll probably see more of them in the following weeks.
I think I came across a pretty interesting theory that it's like, so we keep hearing these stories that keep coming out of them talking about like, no, these balloons were floating around like since 2018, like 2019, they picked these up and they knew about them. So one of the theories is like, we've always known about them. Like, we've known about these balloons flying over our airspace, and the U.S. has just been monitoring them the whole time just to see what they're doing. And
China was like, oh yeah, they have
China's
no
like,
idea.
Because I mean, that's spycraft, right? Like, if you know that somebody's monitoring a line, you don't cut the line. You just feed them bad information.
Yeah.
Because and then you also feed bad information to people who are giving information to them to know where the mole is, or you can find information leaks. So it's like, there's this theory that it's going along those lines, that being like, okay, we knew about these, and maybe one of these balloons just got burned. So now we know about them, so we just shoot them all down.
Yeah.
And if we do it all at the same time, then
it looks
China's
like
not. China doesn't. Well, no, it shows that China's not sure which ones we didn't detect. Because if we just shot down one and there was a bunch of other ones floating around, they would be like, oh, like, they didn't detect that one, they didn't detect that one, they didn't detect this one, so we know which ones work. But if we shoot them all down, then they're not sure which one was actually working ever. Like, they don't know. So we're just shooting them all down and just be like, yeah, we knew about them. So okay.
Red Bill in the chat says China is claiming they're spotting some off the coast as well now. Yeah, I did see that too, and actually, I tried to ask him if he never got back to me if I could use his full name, so I'm just gonna say, um, Jason Bourne, on in the
Jesus
ATT.
Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
Yeah, Jason Bourne on the Facebook group had a little bit of a theory, and his theory was, the U.S. is pissed about these balloons flying over. They shot one down. Well, what they're doing now is they're shooting down these objects that are theirs. Just objects that, like, these objects, whatever they are, the United States is putting them there to shoot them down. And now you're going to see these things pop up over the U.S. and Russia. And Russia and China, whatever surveillance drone or whatever kind of craft the U.S. is using, they're not going to be able to, like, their fighter jets are not going to be able to touch these things. So then it's going to be a show of force of, like, not only did the U.S. blow these things out of the air, but now we're seeing them in China. We can't touch them, right? We don't know what they are. But the states were blowing them up, and really it was just the state's own equipment. That was his theory, kind of. I kind of like that theory. I was like, okay, I could see that, because now they're
I could
up
also
over
see
China.
Well, I could also see China shooting down their own balloons to be like, well, they're
Wasn't
useless
us.
now. Well, yeah, they say they're useless now,
Yeah.
right? Because they're totally burned. Like, all of them are burned. So they're just like shooting it down. They're like, that's not ours. We just found out about these. We shot it out over the bay and we can't find it. But
Yeah.
you know, they're probably the U.S.'s, probably.
Yeah.
We're having that problem too. We don't know whose these balloons are.
But
You know,
again,
I could see them doing that.
It's one of those things that this is like an ever-changing story so fast, and until we recover these objects and get some reports about what they're, because, like, I've been seeing so many reports about, like, they don't know what kind of metal it is. Right? And I'm like,
it was a shape-shifting metal,
holy shit, Tom
T1000
DeLonge's just sitting at the fucking Stars Academy, like,
drooling,
woo!
just salivating. It's really good stuff.
Just because, like, to be honest, like, if this was the thing that scares me about this is, I'm like, if it was in fact alien craft, right? Like legit, they're pinging a radar of an alien craft. The first thing we're gonna fucking do is blow these things out of the fucking sky. I'm like, it just does not seem like the best foot forward. You know what I mean? When dealing with extraterrestrials, if that's what these are, that's why. Part of me thinks, I'm like, they must know on some level whether or not they want to give it to the public or not, exactly what these things are. Because to me, I'm like, you know, what if that was a sign of you're starting some sort of intergalactic war, right? And these other ones you're shooting down are now coming to try to recover their buddies.
I would put that on the aliens, because I'd be like, you guys flew down here. You guys flew down here with a bunch of crazy monkeys. Yeah,
this is America.
You flew down here with a bunch of monkeys. Like, you've been passing through our radio transmissions for the last, 100 light years. If you're picking that up, even like 50 light years, even going back, you know that this is a tense situation, and you're not going to announce yourself, and not even the fact that you're going to try to contact, like, a government, because that semes weird. Just a singular government. You would contact the entire Earth. Like, you would hijack a broadcast. Like, you telling me aliens wouldn't be able to do that? They wouldn't be able to hijack, like, TV broadcasts and just be like, broadcast a whole entire holographic message across the entire world of being like, okay, like, we're here. Those things were ours. We're sorry. Our bad. You know, we should have known you guys are going to shoot them down.
Don't shoot us anymore.
But it's mostly like, you know, you don't walk into somebody's backyard, especially in the United States, and, like, you know, don't announce your intentions and expect not to get shot.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. On that level, like, you think they would know better. And to be honest, I'm just like, if they're coming this far, I do not think that our F-22s would be just walking up and blowing them out of the sky.
Yeah, I don't think you need a probe to be that low, 20,000 feet. When we have satellites that can do that, they can do better stuff than that.
It just, like I said, I've got a couple chips on green, but my money right now is that these are further, and only because if we didn't have the China Lantern spy balloon a week ago, I'd probably have more chips in the green here, but because you're just kind of like, well, logically, I kind of figured that this is, you know, the same kind of thing. But again, cautious optimism, we don't know, right? We are just taking guesses right now. So
yeah, could be something fun. Could be.
We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen here in the next couple in the next couple weeks, and what information they let seep out. We got time to fire up the randomatron, Dan?
I think we do. Energy levels are optimum for the
For the
for the randomatron.
Okay, well, hold on a second. I might lose video again when I like I said, my lights flicker. I might lose video when I fire this thing up, so just stand by. Okay?
Yep. She's purring. She's purring. It's going. This is the best the randomatron's ever sounded.
That was a halting stop. Got a little smoke in here. Interesting. This week the randomatron spit it out. The cryptid of the week.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I am intrigued, sir.
And intrigued. So, this week we have hold on, it's printing me out a little thing here. All right, dingo neck. No, it gave me the phonetic spelling too. Dingo neck. Dingo neck.
All right.
Not dingo neck.
Not dingo neck. Okay.
Little first reported 1907. The location Kenya and South Africa. The cryptid type is the aquatic cat-like. Interesting.
Okay.
Reality rating 2 stars.
What does that mean?
I guaranteed reality. I don't know. What's the I don't know. Randomatron. I'll have to ask it some questions on what's the.
Yeah, we're have to go into the randomatron logs and piece that one out. We're not sure.
What is the star rating?
What's the criteria for a reality
rating?
rating?
All right. Hold on. Just so you know, the reality ratings, until definitive information is available, each cryptid will be given a reality rating.
Thank you, randomatron.
1 star. The cryptid has been confirmed as a hoax. 2 star. Proof is not available, and it is yet to be confirmed as a hoax, but the odds are against the cryptid being real. So that's tonight's. But again, there's no proof, so we don't know. Though most experts consider the dingo neck to be the stuff of legend, one unconfirmed report suggests a painting in a cave in South Africa matches the cryptid's description almost exactly.
So we had like a cryptid Dorian Gray situation going on. Like there's a painting and it's just haunted or something.
Yeah. It comes out of the painting. Listen, if it's in a cave, it's painted in the cave, someone saw it. Eyewitness accounts are difficult to verify when it comes to the jungle walrus, also known as dingo neck. The story is often repeated. I like jungle walrus way better because walruses are terrifying.
That sounds like a hippo.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah.
That is a jungle walrus.
That is
the hippo.
Wait a minute. With little, hold on. I think I skipped something here. Does this? Repeated with little reliable sourcing. So while we share it here, its credibility is uncertain. Explorer John Alfred Jordan supposedly saw the cryptid in 1907 in Kenya. Jordan's guide spotted it first on the banks of the river Magori. He led his employer to the river's edge to witness the fearsome beast. When Jordan saw the monster, he shot, but only grazed an ear. The angry dingo neck roared as the frightened men ran away. Adventure author Edgar Beecher Bronson recounted Jordan's alleged encounter as a shared fireside chat in his 1910 book, Enclosed Territory. Holy saints, but he was a sight, Bronson wrote, quoting Jordan. 14 or 15 feet long, head big as of that of a lioness, but the shape and marked like a leopard. 2 long white fangs sticking down straight from its upper jaw. Back broad as a ship, scaled like an armadillo, but colored and marked like a leopard. And a broad fin tail with slow, lazy swishes, of which he was easily holding himself level in the swift current, headed upstream. Bronson died in 1917, so it's impossible to collect more details about Jordan's experience As a result, the dingo neck story remains inconclusive. Now, it sounds like a goddamn dinosaur. And, like, we got some pictures
Man.
here.
Is- Are those actual pictures of? Oh, those are pictures.
These are actual pictures.
These are actually pictures.
They're
okay.
pictures.
Of the dingo neck.
Dingo neck.
Dingo neck.
We'll just call him the jungle walrus. No,
the jungle walrus.
Jungle walrus.
I mean, that to me, it's spotted like a leopard. I mean, the some of the colorations on some of the like African crocodiles could get like that. If it were a big enough crocodile, I could say it would be something like that. And it said it roared, and so they make that noise. So it could be a very large crocodile, which would be scary enough in itself. Those things are fucking crocodiles are cryptids. Those things are fucking huge and scary.
Yeah, well, and same with hippos, man. Hippos, honestly, there is no animal has a better PR person than hippos.
Only in recent years that people discovered that they are like the number one killer in Africa of wildlife.
People are starting to come around to the fact that these things are fucking monsters, and we should make them extinct. Like,
well, maybe not that.
Extinct, Dan. They are savaging South America, all thanks to Pablo Escobar running wild.
Well, that's his
murdering people, right? Like these things are enormous, and all they do is eat.
This
and
is
they
true.
have terrible, terrible mood swings. They're violent tendencies.
They spray feces like a sprinkler.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
It's unbelievable.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Right? We should eradicate these things.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like these could very well a lot of these remind me very similar shape of like a very large crocodile. Like a could have possibly been. I would chalk it up to that. My normal logical mind would put it up to that. Because armored like an armadillo, like it's got scales. Like crocodiles got scales.
It is only a 2-star, so like realistically, there is one account of this cryptid.
It would be even like 18. I don't think even 18 feet would be that unusual for a large crocodile, especially back then, the early 1900s. Like I feel like you would find larger.
Well, and I'm not
critters.
even. I'm going to say this. I won't even chalk out that it's some sort of species of crocodile or something that has gone extinct. That was near extinction around this time, and this guy saw one of the very few left on Earth. Right? Like, that's a possibility. Like, say if these things live 150 years, right? Like, whatever this thing is that he saw, right? Is there a possibility that they were climate change or whatever, they've been driven to a near extinction, and around 1912 there was maybe 4 or 5 left in the world? Possibly, right? And he just happened to see one, and then they gone, and we've never found any fossils.
I mean, it could even, I'm still sitting on crocodile, but even a crocodile or an alligator for that matter, like being above 16 feet, like I would still count that as like a cryptid because you don't see them every day. Well, and they're terrifying and huge. Like that is an unusual size in my books for like a crocodile, I believe. But yeah, the spotting colorations and stuff remind me a lot of the pictures that I've seen of like a normal crocodile. So I don't know, could be that, or it could be what do they call it, the cat feline, the jungle walrus. Be a jungle walrus. Could always be a jungle walrus. Who knows?
Terrifying either way. I wonder how many people just died.
I'm not going in the water in Africa. That's just
well, there's a whole bunch of reasons.
Yeah,
that's
just an extra one.
Yeah, I'm gonna add that on the list. Number 1 is that little thing that crawls in your penis.
No, that's the kangaroo, and they live in South America.
Well, I'm not going in the water there anyways.
No.
Right? So anyways, I think that's all we got for this week in space news. The next space news we're going to do with the whole crew is going to be February 26th. We'll all be there, and by that time we'll have the randomatron running again, and it might have, I'm not going to say it's going to pull because it's random, so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to shoot out, but there is a chance that it will open the cosmic channels live on Space News.
Yeah, we may be able to integrate the cosmic channel circuits into the randomatron. Yeah. We're not sure yet. It hasn't been done before.
It's never been done.
It could rend reality in twain.
Yeah.
If we do this, but we're gonna try for everybody, for the sake of you guys
and everyone watching this live. We got an awesome case file coming out tomorrow. We're talking about Chat GPT, artificial intelligence, and aliens. So if you're listening to this as a podcast version, it came out a couple days ago. Great episode. We got more live streams and stuff on our Patreon. You can support the show for as little as $5 a month, and you get early access to all live streams, everything early, ad-free at patreon.com/Alien Theorist Podcast. It helps the show out amazingly. And we forgot to do the sponsored segments today. I messed up. But
nobody's perfect.
Hey,
we're doing it. We're still
yeah,
fleshing stuff out here. Like we're still working on it.
All right. Dan, how did we sign this off last time?
I don't remember.
And that is Space News.